Jai Hind, Namaskar, and good evening from Bharat, that is India. I am talking to the international audience today on a very serious issue. That from where does the terrorist funding comes? Whether it is to Hamas, whether it is to Houthis, whether it is to Hajibullah, or whether it is to the rogue state of Pakistan, which has the manufacturing factory for which recruits them, trains them, produces these jihadis to kill kafirs world over, and the kafirs are not just Hindus for them. Even Christians, Sikhs and Buddhists are also, or Jews, or Yazdis, they are all kafirs for them. And then they export terror over. Everywhere where a terrorist is caught, one Pakistani national is involved. So where does this funding come from? And those who fund this state, rogue state of Pakistan, or to say Palestine, are equally responsible for facilitating terror in the world. I'll come to my own country a little later, how we suffer. The UN, the World Bank, the IMF, how much money they pumped into Gaza, into Palestine. But did they ever bother to find out where that money went, on what it was spent? Even you go for a small loan to the bank, if you take a loan for house, you can use it only for buying a house. If you take a car loan, you can use it only buying for a car loan. But these regulations are not in relation to these big funding monsters of the world. The entire money which went to Palestine, more than 90% of it was used by the Hamas terrorists, the Hamas jihadis, in building tunnels, in buying arms, in training their people. Same happened in Lebanon, and same happened in Yemen, the Houthis. Because the World Bank, the IMF, the UN, they don't monitor where the money has gone. And same is happening in relation to Pakistan, a country which owes 90 billion US dollars, and that is only to these IMF and Asian Development Bank or World Bank. Not to say what they owe to Saudi Arabia or what they owe to Turkey. To China alone, they owe some $29 billion. So this is their credit rating. How much have they paid back? And it's very interesting that on 9th May, again the IMF board is meeting to consider their loan begging. I'll call it begging. I'll not call seeking loan. I'll call it begging. Will the IMF see that their begging bowl has many holes? And from these holes, the money which the IMF gives them goes where? 90% of that money taken in the name of climate or development of poor people, education, etc., goes into the pockets of their generals, their politicians, and to the training factories of terrorists. Has the IMF ever bothered to find out how many billions of dollars their generals have stolen from Pakistan and kept them in foreign banks, or their politicians? And that is why they all ran to London. So Shahnawaz Sharif is still in London. Why? Mushir's wife ran away to London with the family. Why? Pervez Musharraf had also ran to London. Their own one journalist, Arzu Kazmi, she made a statement once. She's trying to put a satire. Can look at the Indian Army journals. They serve the country, they serve their forces, and then they retire and they live on pension. But look at the Pakistani journals. Once posted in Siachen, the highest battleground in the world. They put their head in the ice there and will dug out $2 million. And then go and build their houses abroad, send their families abroad, send their children abroad, and have a gala time. Why no monitoring system? That where this money will go. The World Bank itself has given Pakistan something like 20.6 billion US dollars, which they have to repay. Similarly, it owes about something like about 20 billion US dollars to the World Bank already. And almost an equal amount to the Asian Development Bank. When your credit ratings are low, when you have not repaid the loans, forget the loans, you have not even paid the interest on that. No financial institution gives you loan. But these giants, they do give loans. If you convert the $90 billion US dollar loan Pakistan has to pay into Pakistani rupees, it will come to some 3,790 billion Pakistani rupees. So you can yourself calculate that how much a Pakistani individual is under loan, divided by about 25 crore people. Do their leaders bother for the people? You've seen what are the conditions in Pakistan. prices, food grains, electricity, anything. And interestingly, the conditions which the IMF puts are like these: increase the taxes, increase the electricity bills and all, which their leaders and generals happily do in Pakistan. Because again, they are squeezing the people. One can see on the channels or in social media how the Pakistani people are talking against it. But who's bothered? IMF is only bothered in giving money. I wanted to ask a question. For decades, South Africa was declared as an apartheid state. Total blockade. Economic and everything. No one gave loans to South Africa. Then why, when on the one hand you say you should fight and by giving them money, you strengthen these terrorists? That means you are an equally in part in promoting terrorism in the world. You may give more to Gaza. Give it. And more to Pakistan. Give it. Why I am raising this today is that we are talking here. Who is supporting Pakistan? We know Turkey is supporting. We know China is supporting. Uzbekistan is supporting. The news comes China has sent missiles. Turkey has sent its frigates. But at the same time, is much more crucial to understand that who is supporting this rogue state financially in terms of money. And why I mentioned apartheid? Because it was a human rights consideration. So all blockade was done. All loans were stopped and all this and that. IMF, World Bank, Asian Development Bank. Human rights have no consideration for you. What is the condition of human rights in Pakistan? Particularly of the minorities of Hindus, Sikhs and Christians, whose women are raped, forced to marry elderly people. That is no concern in giving these loans. So you empower those who do this, these fanatic mullahs, supported by the ISI and the Pakistani army and politicians. You empower them to violate more human rights, to train and send terrorists world over. And if these loaning international great institutions, IMF, World Bank, Asian Development Bank, they don't stop funding this rogue state, this jihad will take over all of you. The Ghazwa Europe has already started. The Ghazwa England has already started. I call it Englistan now. And their fanatics openly boast that they will rule the world, they will win the world, they will convert the world, their Ghazis are ready, their Jazis are ready. They want Shariat everywhere. So the big directors and executives of these international funding agencies, once these fanatics and terrorists succeed, these jihadis succeed, you also will not be able to travel in your BMW or Mercedes cars or in your air-conditioned villas and flats. Think over seriously what I have said. Jai Hind.